Harry Potter?
Yes?
Harry Potter!
Oh, come up? Sure. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is directed by Mike Newell and tells a story about a Triwizard tournament that takes place with 3 tasks, with 3 witchcraft and wizarding schools that has arrived. Before we get in, please just remember that this is my opinion. My opinion isn't the right opinion, just my opinion. Without further ado, let's get started with some of the positives of this movie. And the first positive that I can think about this movie is that this movie does feel more character-driven. We get to see these characters grow, we get to see their emotions, that they start to have feelings for one another. You really get to see these characters have different perspectives on different things that are happening in this movie. So that can really help to make this movie feel more character-driven and more humanized in that sense. We get to see their wants and needs play out, and we also get to see their vulnerability. So this helps create real emotional characters that we can care for. Speaking about emotions and how this movie is more character-driven, in the U-Ball, we all know who the best combo was. Come on. Another thing that is kind of a positive, we'll get more into this later, is I like how this movie is more cohesive and concise than the previous ones. As many of you know, I did enjoy the Philosopher's Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber's Secrets, but what I think that it was lacking was that I find it took quite a while to get the central plot going, which could muddle the whole forward momentum sense in the movie. Here they do it very well by really getting the plot going really quickly, so you really have clear goals established for this movie. But sadly, I do have a few flaws with this movie. The first thing that comes to mind is this movie is more dark than its predecessors, which I enjoy at times, but here it could kind of remove some of the fun that was seen in the previous 2 movies and could make those previous 2 movies really feel alive. Here it goes straight into the plot, which is also kind of a positive, but it also kind of negative because you have less time to really introduce our characters before everything just goes bad. So it could feel like this movie could lack an intro and could remove a bit of the fun from Harry Potter. As well as with Mad-Eye Moody, I find that we didn't exactly explore his character the most to make the twist feel the most impactful. He was just kind of there in some scenes for me, and then all of a sudden, twist! It just kind of felt out of the place. And the last thing is I find that this movie, even though it did get straight to the plot, I find that there's less introduction to really the world of Harry Potter here. So really when it went to the action, it could feel a bit rushed. So overall, I'll give Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire a C+.
Quick soundtrack review.
The Goblet of Fire's soundtrack was scored by Patrick Doyle, and I liked his approach on this universe. I liked some of his new cues, and it really feels kind of cinematic. But I find that this soundtrack should have focused more on different new themes, because even though there were new themes, I find that they focused a bit too much on the Yule Ball theme. So I find that this soundtrack should have been a bit more diverse. And overall, I'll give this soundtrack a 9 out of 10.